And then we're live.
Hooray.
Okay, so Facebook, Facebook setting is broken because you cannot start live streaming for the event in the past. And yeah, because they want the schedule for 5 p.m. on the YouTube. I tried to add a Facebook and I failed because I should have added it before. But anyway, I don't care because Facebook actually a margin on this point. It generated very small amount of views. Twitter is the place with a deal.
X-Twitter,
yes. Yes, X-Twitter, yes, you're right. Okay, let me start recording in several seconds. I almost ready. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Non-Intuitive Beats podcast. I think it's episode 66, brought to you by the Leaders Club that you are part to if you're listening to us. But as usual, do consider elevating your club membership by joining our Discord channel. You will find the link in the description. And on top of that, actually no, let's go to saying hi to everyone who is in virtual studio with me, which is Dmitry Mananikov. Say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone.
And this annoying voice that you're hearing right now is usually Slava Kovalevsky. And I just realized that we are streaming to so many places that it's probably warrant to say that one of the main places where we're going live is a YouTube. You can have a chat there, you can go there, so go to our channel and subscribe there and you can attend our live broadcasting. Ooh, okay, that's the entrance.
It's so weird when I don't hear my voice in the headphones, so I may talk too loud or too quiet or too fast, I don't know.
It's fine, I have a hardware compressor that evens out everything, okay. At least in theory. Actually, I want you to check the preset that I have, but somehow I think I cannot when it's recorded. Anyway. It's what it is. So I heard that you failed your homework.
Yes, I failed homework. I really wanted to watch Barbie, but this week was pretty crazy. I hope I will have a chance, maybe this weekend. I don't want to promise again and then fail on my promise.
I'm going to move it to next show notes anyway.
It's like some movies you don't watch them, but you know everything about them. Some cult movies that people see like so many times, they discuss. There's a lot of memes. You may not know what it is, but you know what's inside. Barbie probably not one of these, but like some of them definitely are.
Yeah, when I first have seen a trailer, even with the trailer, you're looking at the trailer like, okay, I still have no clue what the movie will be about. It's nothing.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good one.
Yeah, but the movie is good. There is no any good segue of any other topics that we have on the list today. So let's just move out from the Barbie to other set of the stuff to discuss. Let's do a usual intro popcorn. I will tell a very quick thing about Google Notebook ML. This is a very weird service that Google has introduced.
Wait, is it different from Jupyter Notebooks?
Absolutely, it is completely different thing. There's nothing to do with Jupyter Notebooks, yes. But this is what you just said is the first thing that everyone would assume, right? That's probably Jupyter Notebook, yes. But it's actually focused on non-AI researchers and practitioners. So there is usually people outside of AI practitioners. They do not know Jupyter Notebook, so it's probably fine from the perspective of the audience. So the tool they announced on the Google I.O. quite some time ago, and I knew about the tool. I was on the waiting list, finally got access to it. But even from the Google I.O., I never understood like what exactly this tool is doing. Finally, I know. So this is effectively... okay, let me describe what does it do, and maybe we together can figure out how to name this tool. this is a chart. And imagine like you have a BART, but you can give to this BART 5 sources. Very specific sources. You can say, oh, by the way, hi Anastasia from London. We just have a comment from Anastasia, hi from London. So yes, just saying hi back. So you can upload up to 5 sources to this tool. A source can be Google Docs, it could be text, it could be a PDF.
And so something like you control, right?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Yep. And then you can ask any questions about it. You can say, and this is a weird thing. So it doesn't understand the type of the document. So you cannot say things like, okay, here is my legal agreement. Can you say there is something weird in it? Because it doesn't understand that you have uploaded legal agreement. It doesn't have notion of the high level of what the source is. It just can read it and then answer a question about the facts from this document. So you can ask stuff like, okay, what will be my monthly payment? If your agreement has a monthly payment, we'll tell you.
Why, I mean, it seems like an easy problem to fix just to put some title inside text that they fit to this model.
That is true, but the first thing I tried to do, I tried to generate the show notes of our previous podcast. I thought, okay, I'm going to upload the podcast transcript, and effectively didn't work. Like I was not able. At some point, it started generating to me show notes for some Joe Rogan podcast that it found on the internet.
Hey, question.
Yep.
Why 5? I mean, I understand they need to limit like context to some size.
Yes.
But if you upload like a gigantic document or 5 small documents, like why is this limitation on 5? Why not just like say, hey, just upload more, upload less? I don't know.
So my guess is the following. This is just guess. Obviously, they will not tell you how they do in real life. They limiting the size of one source to the size of the context, and then they limiting a amount of sources by amount of calls they would be willing to give you for free. Because they can have, here's a question, here's a doc number 1, here's a question, doc number 2, then they get 5 answers, they merging it to the best answer and giving you back. So that's why you cannot have a gigantic one document, because really the size of the context is still limiting, and then like it will be 6 calls. So biggest context and 6 call gives you 5 documents, and each document have a limit.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, this is just the hypothesis. I honestly have no idea. They never told anyone how it's working under the hood, but so far I wasn't able to make it work or useful for any of my tasks. But again, this is just experimental release, so I would highly suggest everyone to try it out.
On a GPT note, yesterday I actually tried. So I have Copilot installed on my editors, but yesterday I actually finally used feature in VS Code where you can select line of code, and a small window pops up, and you put like what you want to do with the code, and it proposes you change, and you can accept it. And I use it for change that I could do easily. I know what to do, but I was too lazy to type code, and I decided to just ask. It was working well. I mean, it's still like annoying, like delay in ChatGPT is still like 3-5 seconds. It feels like it's process all context. But it still was a nice feature.
So how did it work? Were you satisfied? 5 stars out of 5?
I mean, for my case, yes, it did what I wanted. Ideally, I would like to say, okay, just repeat for all places where you see the same code, but I have to do it manually. Still place to improve.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad from my side. I actually just realized that I'm coding less and less and less and less. I don't remember when last time I wasn't coding outside of the just weekends when I would be coding just for the sake of coding on some pet projects, and I actually would do.
That's
anything.
Exactly what happened, because last couple of weeks on the work I do a lot of documents, a lot of meetings. I think I wrote like only a few lines of code, and it was a couple of days ago thinking, okay, I had an idea for pet projects I can finish like in an hour and a half, so let's do it.
Oh, so it was work project or pet project?
Just a small pet project.
Ooh, so if it's not work related, do you want to share?
It's not really useful for anyone else, but essentially it's for a private forum it's a dumping system. Like I can say, okay, get a link and then scratch everything and put to MongoDB. And actually, I want to share like an interesting thing I did. So on my Synology, I have MongoDB running. And it's actually a perfect way for pet projects. Like sometimes you want, okay, I want to get some data, store it somewhere, then use it later. And just having MongoDB running like with some admin password on Synology is super helpful. Like when I create new project, I just connect, create new table, dump data, and then I can use it. Because alternative is a SQLite, and then I can lose SQLite, and like aggregation doesn't work well, and I can just dump random JSON. So it's actually pretty good for pet projects. At least I found it's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Speaking about Synology, because we're both huge fans, we have our Synology in somewhere in the garages, and I just start thinking when in the future when we will decide to update, for something ARM based, for example, and something quite cool and shiny, how the migration will work. You cannot probably just take out your hard drives and put it in the new Synology. It's not going to work like that, I would guess.
Why not? I think it could. Many apps maybe. Oh, I see. Maybe. I don't know actually how it would work. Probably they should have something.
Yeah, because even this things like ID of the users that on the lower level is just integer or some number. That's the first thing that comes to mind, because usually it will be different. Even if you'll create the username on the new Synology with same name, it's not going to be the same user.
So they have. I can imagine. So they have an ability to actually synchronize to Synology disk drives, like to say, hey, use another Synology as a backup point or something. Or it's like mirroring. They have like they have a bunch of different backups. Maybe you just like pull one disk, set another Synology, and tell this one to fill it, and then I don't know. Actually, about Synology, I have a one that it's 720 plus, and I actually recently added SSD cache to it, and it actually started to behave much better because itself 720 is pretty slow. And like disk I use not very fast, and I had issues with containers running slow, especially like when reading something like small files. DSM, it's like the whole UI was slow. But now when I added cache, it was pretty fun, and I found that cache actually very cheap right now. This is NVMe. Like you can buy like 100 gigabytes for $20 or something.
Wait. So you're saying they added it? Can you add it, or they added it in the physical device?
No, it was there. Like slots was there. So I bought like two small drives and then added them as a cache. And then Synology use them as a cache.
Got it. I'm trying to recall. So which one is yours? 723?
Yeah, it's like a new model of mine, but they all have a SSD cache, I believe.
I see. And I think mine is 423, I guess, or 923, something with 4 base for sure, but I don't remember which one.
They probably have slots.
Looks like, at least on the description, yes. Okay. So are you saying that there's something to consider?
Yeah, you can check. So Synology has a tool that you can run for a month, and after a month it will say how much cache you would need to like make it efficient.
Okay.
And for me it was like 100 gigabytes, and I get like a bit more, and it's like work nicely.
Do you know the name of the tool?
I think if you go to disk manager something, I don't remember from top of my head, but if you Google like SSD cache analysis, I think if you go to disk tool, like a separate tool, there is like a cache analysis or something.
Got it. I probably will do that eventually at some point. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I wanted to say something. Do you have anything else to follow up on the Synology? Otherwise, we can move on.
No, we can move.
So I wanted to show several things from the Waymo. Waymo recently have made a really interesting move. They actually have released a Waymax,
I thought you will say they laid off a bunch of people.
Oh, I think they did. I think they actually did.
It was like a day or two ago.
Yes, Waymo layoffs. I don't know whom they lay off. I saw something that they're going to lay off someone. Honestly, I have not followed up much about how many and from which particular group, because they recently have decided not to proceed with big car trucks, and from that perspective, obviously, they were laying off tons of the people from that group. I don't know if this is following the same pattern or not. By the way, before proceeding with Waymax, I recently got exposed to really interesting math, which effectively ties people in your company with a percent that company paying to lend money. So the government has a percent 7 or 8%. You now will have to pay more percent to return the money that you lending. Okay. So you can effectively now have a delta in percentage that you can use to pay people. So effectively, you either have to pay less or fire a little bit of people.
I think I don't follow. Like, can you explain it? Like I'm 5.
Yeah, so you're lending $100, right? And you need to pay like several people $5 per month. For example, you lend $100 and you have like several people to whom you're paying $5 per month. Let's say, for example,
like a percentage for keeping.
You lend 100, and this give you a runway for X amount of months to keep paying $5 for like 3 people. Let's say.
Is it lend or take a loan? I always forget.
You're taking a loan. Let's say, okay, let's be more specific. You're taking a loan of $100 to pay people a salary, right? Like $5 per person.
As a company, okay.
Yeah. So now imagine that percentage of that loan went up.
Okay.
So if you want to keep the runway, you have either to pay less or to fire.
I see. Okay, got it.
And usually company opting to fire. They not opting in to reduce the salary. And to be fair, in many cases when the company downsizing, if the downsize is not big, it's actually improved productivity. But again, if the downsizing is not too big.
Yeah, I mean, if you can use it as their excuse to fire low performance people, I mean, you can't be really precise and like really fire, but at least you fire some. Compared to like if you just reduce salaries and like top performance will go away.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. And obviously you will be unfair by just bad luck in any big company with some percentage of people, but it is what it is. Anyway, so coming back to what they did, they released a Waymax, and the Waymax is an interesting simulator that you can use to probably play with some of your planning stack, I guess. I have not tried it. It's just a really nice move. I got first so excited to try it, and then I read the license, and it's big and difficult, and effectively says only for research. You cannot use it for any production need, only for research need, and there is many clauses there that quite interesting. But I like that move. I see it more and more, big companies releasing, saying here is how cool we are. And by the way, this is not an open source. There is a license that says you cannot use it if you're a big company too, but like, it is what it is. Yeah, that's probably all I can say. I haven't played with it.
Do you know what does it do? Because I don't have understanding from description.
Yeah, so I will give you a bogus answer because I have not yet played with it. So the idea looks like you can upload the different models that, for example, tell to your software, here's a bicycle on the road, right? They're using the bicycle model example, and the planning stack is usually the stack that already give the information from the higher level that already parse the picture and says, here's a bicycle, here's a car, here's a human. So it already knows the semantic of the objects. You're no longer working with the pictures. So this looks like to me, and again, I might be saying complete horseshit because they released it today and I have not played with it. That looks like if you need to test that planning stack that no longer works with the picture but works with high-level object, they have a different model. So they can start supplying to your model, here's a bicycle that's moving from left to right. So they have this model of the object that will be moving in a realistic way. They have AI that embedded there that will move like a bicycle. So for all the tasks where you do not need a picture per se of the bicycle, but you still want to test how the model perform with the bicycle, and the bicycle need to move for that model in particular not the shape, and there should be bicycle AI, quote unquote. So it looks like this is what it doing. You can train, you can play with your model, you can apply different NPC AIs you can give them a roles and see how your model perform. Again, this might be such a horseshit when I'm saying I haven't played with it, but looks like this is what it's doing. But since we spoke about what the Waymo nodes, I want to remind everyone that Cruise actually also do have some contribution on open source. We have released many years ago, like I guess 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago, maybe, WebViz. And the WebViz is a web-based tool for visualizing lower level information from your IV. So if you have the car that, for example, has LiDAR, has radar, has cameras, and has some additional data, streaming data that changes per second. This is a tool that can visualize everything together. It can tell you in this particular time frame, here is a LiDAR, here's a cameras, here is a radar, here is a whatever chart you want me to show in that particular moment, here is a text data if you streaming something in the text data.
I've seen this tool. Under circumstances, I can't really tell you. It reminds me like Uber also released like long time ago. One was with GL, but it was for visualizing cities. It's nice that company opens these tools, and it was like really performant. I think one of the cool examples was like New York, where like cars are driving to show traffic.
Okay.
Like really performant in browser.
Yes, I don't know. I just like these tools in some shape or form as an art. I look on those pictures, really something like an art. Yes, it's just cool to watch.
I remember Uber has a website used by government. Not government, like a cities to visualize traffic, and so cities can analyze it and like to make bus routes or something else. I can quickly Google it. Yeah, I also can find it. Well, if I find it, I'll maybe link it somewhere.
Will be homework. That will be homework, but let me open at least the blog post. So yes, Uber have released visualization traffic, safety with Uber Women data, and Kepler GL. Uber movement. Interesting. So yes, the website. Okay, I don't know the website. I was not able to quickly find it, but there is a website somewhere. Homework. Now you have a homework.
Okay, movement is no longer active as October 1st. So they just like shut down 20 days ago.
20 days ago, man.
It's how fun company became a corporation. The boring stuff.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to share from the self-driving today. Oh, no, sorry, almost all. The Waymo have released this interesting talk that I highly would recommend everyone to watch if you are into AV space. On the Waymo channel, they have released a huge talk about the fact how they're measuring the safety of their car. And it has really many interesting angles. How they're predicting, how they're using simulation, how they're trying to predict safety based on the fact that, for example, they also don't have, to the best of my knowledge, they don't have a collision with fatalities. So they have to simulate, they have to approximate. But overall, how they looking at the safety model, because safety is interesting concept. It's not only about removing amount of zero fatalities incidents. Safety can be about the property damage and other stuff. So you actually have to evaluate different risks. Realistically, it's all about this specific diagram that they're showing about correlation between severity of the incident and frequency. And really, you have a field there where it's actually okay to have this slightly higher frequency, low severity incident. Yeah. Anyway, just highly recommend to watch on it for everyone who into AV space. But yeah, don't have too many other things to say here.
Short topic.
Go for it.
I canceled my ChatGPT subscription for chat itself. And I tried to live with API itself by using either my Telegram bot, not my Telegram bot, one that I installed, or by my tool. And so far it's going well, but I really need to finish my tool so it supports chat mode, because I can ask question and get answer, but I can't do like a further. And it's really something that I'm liking right now. But so far it was good, because I was paying like $20 for ChatGPT and didn't really use plugins. And for API is like much cheaper. So I'll try to live with it to see if it's okay or not. But I really want to try, like for some reason I didn't have this plugin to search in web with the ChatGPT.
Man, the timing that you choose is really bad. The reason why I'm saying, because they just enabled everything. Like you finally can do internet. You can have DALL-E 4.
I did it because I unsubscribe.
Yeah, yes. But like they have literally everything that they had now enabled. DALL-E 3, ChatGPT 4V, which effectively allows you to give it a picture and ask things on the picture, which works
and it's
amazing.
Like available for everyone with subscription.
Exactly. Yes. Not just on the subset of people with subscription, because I didn't have access to all of this shit, and finally they told me everyone's subscription will have it.
Okay, that makes sense to get it back.
Especially 4V, because DALL-E is now available on the Bard. Sorry, not the Bard, on the Bing chat. Yes, you kind of can have some version of the DALL-E, but for V, where you can upload the picture and ask question about it, no, it doesn't. It's not there.
Okay, nice to know.
I think I had something about AI, but since we're speaking about AI, I recently restarted my Feedb subscription. And for everyone who doesn't know, Feedb is a really cool application that effectively build your gym exercises, because I have a
Did they also switch to AI?
They were doing AI way before it was cool.
Okay, was it AI? I remember I was using. I really like the idea. They just like give you exercises to train without you thinking much. I didn't know I don't remember they advertising it as AI.
That is true, yes. They are not advertising that as ML or AI or anything, but what they do amazingly well, they tune the workouts specifically to you, and the way how they're doing that, they're giving you repetitions that you need to accomplish. And they asking you, okay, how hard it was, and they also ask you to tune amount of repetition that you actually did. And if you follow that simple procedure, you will see how much they are updating the workouts to be specifically curated for you. They will realize how much you can do, you cannot, and they will almost each week you will see progression, how better they're giving you the workouts.
Yeah, I remember it was like pretty good application.
Yeah, it's very simple, so to speak. And I don't know, I would expect it by now the Apple Fitness will kill it, but no, they haven't produced nothing even close.
Yeah.
By the way, have you tried Apple Fitness?
Yeah, I tried. I actually when you get like one of the new devices, they like give you like free subscription. I tried like multiple times. I haven't tried their like a picture with the people training. But I really didn't like to stick it. I like one with the dances. It was like pretty fun to do. But I don't know. But I don't think it's a fail of Apple Fitness. It's rather a fail of myself with the sport.
Why? Why? Why?
I just like it was interesting like first few time as a thing, but then I didn't really like the process. I didn't really like the couches, and the whole Apple integration didn't really give me much. So I wasn't really into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I somehow I did not like their service exactly because they did not have any AI/ML to it. And what I mean by that is there is a pre-recorded video that they're showing. Sure, it's kind of fun, but at the same time, I cannot memorize to write anywhere what was my results before. I cannot tune it to anything. There is no progression. It's I still not into it. Like I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. I hate it. I hate such type of the fitness exercising, so to speak, when it's pre-recorded coach, no progression, nothing. Looking in the Fitness Plus, I cannot not to mention thing that I completely forgot, but Victoria's Secret. Have you heard about this scandal with Victoria's Secret?
No.
The Victoria's Secret completely ditched the previous idea of we're going to put some interesting type of women on our front cover and going back to emphasize the sexy part. They ditched everything, so ditched the woke agenda because looks like
became it like from data, from money perspective, or just like from counseling from other side?
The money, what they were trying to push, no one was buying, and they reverted to a previous agenda.
They did change product itself, not just branding.
The product, I don't know, honestly, I have no idea, but they changed the focus. They are focused now again to push through sex and emphasize sexy pictures and sexy women, versus before, for last almost half a dozen, like 5 years or so, they moved to what they called, I think, empowerment, where they were showing a different body types of women and emphasizing that we are for them as well, and beauty can be different. And
I mean, it makes sense to try, but like for them, like sex really sells well. Like if we don't speak about like particular brand, it's just like it sells well, right? Like whether it's good idea or not, but for business it's really good. And they one of a few companies who can do it without being, like ashamed, right? You're not really that try to sell like new cars anymore with like sex, but they have a brand which can do it, and it makes sense to utilize it.
No, but they were shamed about that. This wokeness mob, it's try to constantly shame them, and they have to they first abide, and now they go back.
I don't think company works like, oh, we were ashamed, we change it. Okay. There's a bunch of people, maybe we can sell them our shit like which is overpriced, and then they found that these people don't buy it. So
and this is actually the main topic I wanted to speak about, and I finally have finished the book What is Wrong with Us. And
is there a comparison to previous generation of people who were better and we are now worse?
No. Nothing like that. Actually, yes, nothing like that, which is surprising. So the book is interesting. The book is effectively, if I would try to describe, it's hard to give spoilers because first of all, it's not a fiction. It's more like philosophical book about the guy that thinks about what's going on, and he tries to outline his chain of thought with the facts. But effectively, what he is saying about that we are being radicalized. We have been radicalized in either left or right, and the left is actually winning. And what he's calling is saying that, look, U.S. was moving drastically to religion-less country, but in reality, we replaced religion-less with social justice fundamentalism. He calls it specifically fundamentalism for the people that believe of one specific way of thinking and way of doing. And then he outlines 4 steps of any tyranny. Like when first you, I don't remember the first level, but at some point you have a forced listening. First of all, you have an agenda that will be broadcasted. Then you have forced listening. Then you have forced speaking on that agenda.
Okay.
And he described how social justice and fundamentalism actually went through all this stuff. They started from the perspective that, okay, if you don't like position of Jordan Peterson, you don't have to listen to it.
Okay.
But first level is denied listening, then forced listening, then forced speaking. But then they went from people who disagree with George Peterson to denying other people to listen to it by trying to protest the concept. So that was the start, right? You don't want anyone around to listen to someone, you protest the events, and they actually reach a meaningful amount of cancellation of talks that social justice and fundamentalism are against to. And again, this is nothing about they don't want to listen, they disagree, they don't want you or me to listen to it. That's a completely different thing. So the second step is enforced listening. Enforced listening, where they effectively move the agenda to university, to companies with trainings about all the direction all the direction of.
This sounds like an interesting theory, but when you say they, it's like it's a group of people. It's 2 people, 10 people, million people. It's like a concrete people, or we just like take about abstract.
Yes, this is the right question, because this is what have changed. Before the social networks, it was hard for the small amount of people to create such movements at all. Now there is a small amount of people who are radicalized by social justice. They usually call themselves social justice warriors, but this guy called them fundamentalism.
We can find these groups now on all spectrum, right? Because internet allows these small groups on all kind of political spectrum find each other and work together.
Correct, but the problem here that if you radicalize this, one group will inevitably push out another group. If you are completely removing middle ground and saying that you will not be tolerating the discourse, you will inevitably end up in a situation when one of the group wins, pushing out, and he making a claim that left is actually winning. And he doesn't speak about leftists in the classical form, because many people, when saying leftist, they would think about someone who actually promoting open discourse, open ideologically, inclusiveness of opinions. He specifically speaking about radical left, and that radical left uses several very, very simple, not the fact I was saying, but the realities in which we found ourselves to promote and enforce that thing. And by the way, just to finish the thought, the last stage is enforced speaking that I mentioned. This is where you quite often will hear this idea that, if you are actually silent, you supporting the oppressor or some other side. You have to be vocal, otherwise you making a statement. So they're trying to force you in the situation where you have to forcefully say your opinion about something, otherwise you will face a consequence, so to speak. And he in the details described how the cancel culture works, why it's actually started working, why we end up in situation like that, how it started small and then escalated to a much bigger proportion. And usually there is so many mechanics, like for example, we started in the place where we have a very well defined definition of the is there a word? Yes, racism and the consequence on that. But then the society start changing the definition of the racism without changing consequence. And this is just one of the instruments that led to many crazy stuff that's happening around.
Okay, but so he defined a problem. Do he propose any solution, or solution is still like unclear? Or there is no solution?
This is the weakest point of the book. So he does propose a solution, but the solution is the weakest link there. So he effectively proposes 3 things. Maybe more. I just can't recall 3 things. One, first of all, the weakest in the sense that but nevertheless, he said starting with yourself. So try to identify cases where you assume as unquestionable truth about something. Like you would fight a belief.
Source says is a sphere in a space. I still believe that.
True, something that yes, yes, but the idea is, that the only thing that should be intolerable is desire for something to be intolerable. Sorry, it's almost tautology, but the only thing that you should not tolerate is desire not to tolerate something. But the rest should be tolerable. And he kind of trying to define the logical civil discourse. So yes, you can say that, for example, Earth is flat, and you should be respectful with people who are trying to say the Earth is flat. But at the same time, if you're trying to build a logical chain of thoughts, and the people are not comprehending and doesn't want to follow it or engage in the civil discourse, it's okay not to proceed with that discourse with that set of people. But in reality, what he's trying to speak about is more... Sorry, just give me a pause, because I have many beliefs that are embedded in me as well, and trying to also, find them. When I'm speaking with something, I have so many triggers, biases that I'm finding by myself.
But I think it actually, it's a funny good thing sometimes. Assume, what if Earth is not sphere, and what if my belief is incorrect? And actually try to work on this, right? And to maybe you reassure that no, I actually was correct, but I did check.
What if you will check and turns out it's flat?
But also like a small reminder. Remember like Sherlock Holmes, he was, in one of his books, he was talking to Dr. Watson, and Dr. Watson found that Sherlock Holmes doesn't really know that Earth rotates around sun.
Oh, yes, I remember that part, yes.
And it was like, how you don't know? And Sherlock Holmes like, but this like information doesn't really give me anything. If it was opposite, it doesn't really change my life or whatever.
Yep. I remember that part, and I actually liked it. Yes. Okay, so that was the first one. Like, start with yourself. Now, the second one is speak your opinion. Like, that's the very important part. So many people today afraid to speak their opinion.
But isn't it the same as like you mentioned before? This like forceful, forceful
talking or forceful thinking? Yes. Oh, listening. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's not forceful listening. Okay.
Yes. Just speak your opinion, because maybe many of the people, and this is how usually the system works. If you have a forceful speaking where people will be forced to say something, you end up when majority might be thinking completely different, but because everyone afraid to speak up, everyone would only be listening to the very small minority that will be vocal, and everyone will be thinking that everyone except them thinking this way, which is not true, but no one is speaking out.
Yeah, I think it's everyone who was in a big meeting when someone discussed, and everyone just like
nods yes
head and something like, okay, do you really understand what I'm talking about? And like when you dig and you figure out no, it's I actually like remember I told like I read this book How to Think Clearly. There's actually like one of the section about this bias, like when group think. It's not group think, like another term for that as well. Like when like big group tends to agree with each other because like no one wants to actually to interrupt or to speak out.
Yes, I've been there. I've been there so many times. Yes, but in reality, if you dear listener out there on some weird training, and you have a concern, just be the one that will voice them. I know we live in a very weird time where many people would be afraid, for example, to ask if diversity actually would help their company. And I'm not saying to say that, it's not or anything like that. I'm just saying to ask this question. I actually familiar with the cases where people do afraid to just ask the question. And this is scary. This is scary a little bit that we have a mechanics that exist that enforce fear. But yeah, it is what it is. And the third one is just effectively to participate in different alliances and companies. There is I am not ready to open the website, I forgot, but he mentioned one specific community. No, and there is many like that actually promoting the open discourse. They're having different events, so it's like a lobby, classical lobby in the classical sense. Yeah, and then he effectively shows so many cases that have happened for the last thousands of years. The funniest one, not the funniest, but the most controversial that I'm recalling is when CDC was openly criticizing the Trump supported that they were spreading the virus because they were protesting. And then CDC that actually was responsible for going out and saying that when Black Lives Matter protests were on the streets, that it's fine. So these things like that led to a general population losing trust in the government body because they see inconsistency in the message that they were saying. And lacking the trust in the government body actually led to self-fulfilling prophecies because the government body is supposed to be tiebreaker, so to speak. They're supposed to be the one that will tell you, okay, this is more or less what the objective truth is, but if you cannot rely on that, now radicalization only worsens. Because now government body supports one or the other radical groups instead of being in the middle.
Actually, I wanted to add like a small remark on top of like you mentioned, right? Like it's important to speak up, but I think it's also important to listen. Like it's a lot of discussion happens when again like two radical groups came up, and they just like drop their theses to each other, but they never like talk. They never ask each other why other persons think about this way or feels that way. I think it's also very important to actually ask people, okay, why they think Earth is flat and what does it give them? Even if you don't think it's true, right? I mean, obviously Earth's example is just like a very edgy example. But in other places, you can ask people and you can find out that maybe what they believe and what you believe is actually just the same form of something.
That's true. And by the way, this is exactly what the first part is like trying to figure out yourself when you are reflecting or triggered by something and you actually aggressively want to fight. And the more and more I was reading the books, the more and more I realized that yes, this old saying that I might disagree with you, but I will die for your right to say that makes total sense. This is a mentality that we need to reestablish, so to speak, in the US, I think. Otherwise, it might lead in a really bad direction. Anyway, I would highly recommend to read the book. It's to some extent eye-opening. I honestly did not know how radicalized universities are actually, and that gave me a pause, so to speak. And the worst part, that majority of the changes actually have happened for the last 5 to 8 years. So for someone who came to US 10 years ago, we actually have not realized how much have changed in this in the term of radicalization of the US and moving into radical left direction. So yeah, that's LDR. Audiobook is amazing. You don't have to actually read it. Audio version is good enough and gives you enough of a review. I probably will order the hard copy. I will do it now. Just go and order the hard copy. So I'm much better prepared next time to speak about this subject. That's all. That's all I think. Let me look on my notes. Do you have, my friend, anything else you wanted to?
I actually don't. I don't have any specific topics. Try to remember, but like this week was so busy at work, I didn't really achieve anything useful.
Man, for me the same.
I don't know, did I tell last time, but I was finally finished the Cryptonomicon book.
Oh, okay, okay. Tell me more.
It was actually nice. So again, my initial, I don't know, for some reason I thought it's a science fiction, maybe because of after, but it's more like adventure. But they have so many like I know this like book was very popular across IT and programmers in past, and I understand why, because there are a lot of like detailed descriptions of encryption, of like message passing, and like the main characters are pretty much how to say, very obsessed with the privacy and other things. And it was pretty good. It was very long with a lot of small injections of completely different topics and like thoughts, but it was very, very interesting to listen.
I see. And have you listened on the? Have you listened English version or translation?
No, I was listening translation. It's, because for me it's hard to listen English without concentrating.
I see. I just wanted to assess how good is the audio version. So because I'm thinking to listen it next, so I already bought it actually, pre-downloaded in my Audible.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining book, I would say.
Okay, Okay. Hopefully I will have my own review in maybe a week or so. But yes, I'm completely exhausted. I already pre-booked my vacation in November. I'm going on vacation and I'm so looking forward. I want to sleep. I want to be in potato mode for like a week.
Yeah, like when I was young, I was wondering like why people go to all-inclusive hotels. Like, what's the point? It's so boring. I once get there, like I got 3 days like vacation. Okay, 3 days should be like not too much. And on the second day, I was so bored that I decided to just like get a car and drive to a completely different place. But now I think like 1 week of doing nothing, maybe not the worst idea.
And since we on this topic and we still have several minutes left, I booked the hotel with a golf course, with tennis courts, with a spa, with the ability to ride the horses around. So it's not exactly like doing nothing, but it's
activities.
Yes, but walkable. You can walk, play golf, and walk back. That's at least the plan. Okay, my friend, what do you say we stop here? It was light week for everyone.
Short one today.
Yep. Almost an hour, less than 10 minutes, but almost an hour. Okay, dear listeners, thank you for listening to us. As usually, we will see you and hear you next time, same place, in a week from now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're still live. Just give me several seconds. I probably will stop live as well. Thank you everyone who been with us, and live is